I've seen many un-Islamic cults play out in the world today. You have ISIS, you have Al-Qaeda, you have Boko Haram, you have Al-Shabaab, and you have other similar groups. Hizmet is not an un-Islamic cult. From my interaction with the volunteers, it's anything but. This is a group of people that I have observed to carry out the best of Islamic ideals. Kindness, hospitality, love, service, selfless service. They're mainstream in their aqidah, in their creed, as far as the Sunni Islamic school of thought goes. They read the Quran, they pray 5 times a day, they fast. They're very spiritual people. They don't push their beliefs, their Islamic beliefs on non-Muslims. That's not what they're out to do. They're out to serve the world, Muslim and non-Muslim alike. So in terms of being un-Islamic cult, it's anything but that. And in terms of what they really are, in my opinion, is a true embodiment of the Islamic ideals of love and service to the other. And I've never seen anything to suggest otherwise. I'm a civil rights activist. I'm a human rights activist. I don't take my marching orders from demagogues, whether they're domestic or foreign, whether they're elected or they're dictators. What I look at is process. And what's absent in Turkey today that troubles me is process. What's absent in Egypt today that troubles me is process. What may be absent in America soon, the way things are going, is process. And in each of those examples, I say due process is the arbiter between those who accuse and those who defend. And it has to be independent judiciary. It has to be, judges and a court that is not in anybody's corner. What we're seeing in Turkey, unfortunately, is a situation where government is essentially run by one party that acts as both the accuser, the prosecutor, the judge, and the executioner. And those who are accused don't really have any leeway in this system to be able to defend themselves. Those who know Hizmet, who have interacted with Hizmet, they're the farthest thing from violence. They've never promoted violence. They've never accepted violence. They've been the first to condemn violence, including a violent overtake of a republic, a coup. They've condemned this coup, and they've never promoted anything close to it. They've never been involved in anything that is violent in nature. So this goes against common sense. Now that the accusation's there, we're going to have to ask for proof. And even if there are individuals who may be associated with the Hizmet, who are involved in one crime or another, including a coup, the question becomes, at what point do you essentialize the entire movement of millions of people who are essentially volunteers, who want to serve humanity through the Islamic ideals? A teacher, a 24-year-old woman who's serving in a school in some remote part of Turkey, or in Pakistan or in Kazakhstan or anywhere in the world where they tend to build schools in areas of underserved, underprivileged communities. And so a young woman like that who's working at a kindergarten, for example, how is she affiliated or associated with that particular crime? What you look at here is a witch hunt. What you look at here is guilt by association, things that are not in the tradition of liberal justice, liberal values that democracies espouse. And it's exactly what is happening around the world when people in power want to shut out those who are not in their pockets, those who they can't control, or those whom they don't like. When you're moving towards autocracy, when you're becoming a demagogue, when you become the state, l'état c'est moi, I am the state, and when you shut out opposition, shut down media, imprison journalists, declare organizations or schools or mosques or associations or universities or charities as terrorist organizations just by a signature, then I have to say that is incorrect, and that is problematic, and that is unjust. And I'll raise my voice as a Muslim, as a human being, but also as a civil rights and human rights activist, because civil rights and human rights are not piecemeal. They cannot be divided. They cannot be allocated to one group and then denied another. I believe that ideals are only good and are only meaningful if they apply to all human beings. And so I'm not concerned about where the politics align themselves. I'm not concerned about what's in it for me, or will I get, tarnished, or will I get, made into a hero. That's not a consideration. It's simply a belief in blind due process, blind and independent judiciary, and having the procedures and the processes of justice apply everywhere equally to all people. when I read the news that all these schools were shut down in Pakistan, it really hurt me because Pakistan is in need of schools. It's in need of education. We hear about the radicalization, we hear about the illiteracy, we hear about, the lack of education in parts of the country. Same in the United States, same anywhere in the world. And anyone who is putting themselves into service in order to build schools and educate young people. As someone who built an organization, I understand how much effort that takes. Every wall that is painted, every nail that is, hammered into that wall, and then, a picture is hung up. Every computer that is bought and connected, every rug that is placed on the ground, every chair and every table, and then all of the content that comes along with it, the education or the civil rights services in our case, etc. It takes so much to build an organization. A single classroom. And here you have a school of many classrooms, and then you have a movement of many schools. On all of that, think back to the simple nailing of a nail into the wall and all the work that went with it. All of that is just with one signature of a president or a prime minister for political pressure or for personal gain, shuts it all down. It's so hard to build, it's so easy to destroy. And we Muslim Americans and people of conscience have to raise our voices and say, we don't stand for that.